to democratize your AI is a big opportunity because at the end of the day, you can build the best algorithm in the world. If nobody uses it, it doesn't make any sense. So democratize, teach people, work with people. It's very, very important.
Welcome back to the Leading in AI podcast. I'm Jericho, and on this show, I get to talk to some of the most interesting people working in the AI space today. My guest this week is Vuk Vegezzi, partner at Visium, a Swiss AI and data company that helps companies unlock transformative impact through AI. So, Vuk, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Erico, for the invitation. Very happy to be here.
Perfect. So let's start first with your career path into AI. So you spent your early career evaluating startups for investments at BV4 and then moving to building the AI consulting practice at Visium. How did that decision came up?
Exactly. So BB4 was a boutique advisory firm based in Switzerland that was focused on basically accompanying founders throughout their fundraising journey and then capital, let's say, deployments. And, back in 2019, 20, there was the crypto boom, if you want, especially in Switzerland, where we have a very strong, I would say, the financial markets are very strong in Switzerland. There is a very strong crypto space in Switzerland, but it didn't stick with me. It wasn't the biggest fan. And then starting end of 2020, so let's say post COVID or in the midst of COVID, we saw more and more of those AI companies emerging, and that's when I actually met Visium in 2020. However, what I loved myself to do was to accompany founders, work with the startups through their Series A, Series B, so forth and so on, to be really there with them and see them scale. And at some point, what I realized is that I couldn't provide tangible advice to those startups because at the end of the day, they all had these great products. And 99% of them, I would tell you, were all AI, but they always had problems with revenues on how to sell it and so on and so on. And Switzerland is a bit of a difficult market, and how do you do a B2B go to market, etc., etc. And I really felt that I couldn't help them so much. I didn't understand enough the B2B world, of the corporate world. And then I was also speaking on the side with Vizium, and especially with Alan, who was the founder of Vizium, today my partner. And at some point, everything just clicked, and I felt, okay, Visium seems amazing. There is the element that I was really looking for, which is working with corporates in a much closer manner, right? Really being from the inside out to really understand this world. And the second one was that Visium was going through some internal challenges. I'm doing a little bit of a transition from an engineering firm doing, top high tech projects. And when I say that, what I mean by this is, in 2018, 2019, Vision was already doing some Gen AI use cases. People didn't know what Gen AI was until 2022 or 2023 with ChatGPT, right? So imagine that. And there was this transition from moving from this engineering firm towards more of a strategic consultancy. And that was very appealing to me. And that's how I joined Visium in 2022.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds really good. So at Visium, you build the consulting practice from scratch to securing more than 20 clients and five long-term relationships in 2 years. How did you do it? It seems very hard, no? What was the hardest part of that early build?
Well, luckily, I had the chance to be very well accompanied. So not only was I working very closely with my partners, but for example, Alan, who was very supportive, and we worked hand in hand together. Even sometimes too much, I would tell you. I remember we spent a very lot of very long nights. But I also had a great team from the get go. From the get go, we found one or two individuals to accompany us, and then we jumped into that. And I would tell you, if I have to give my magic sauce or a secret sauce on how did we make it? We didn't make it yet, right? We still have a long way to go, but how did we kickstart off this practice? Let's put it that way. It was all about consistency. So it wasn't about doing one great project with a client. It was really about doing many great projects that were creating a tremendous amount of values for our clients repeatedly and in the same manner. And I think that we built a lot of methodologies, frameworks, and so forth and so on to accompany our clients into this. And that was kind of more the hard skills part, if you want. And then there was the soft skills part of the consistency that was much tougher, which was you have to be very transparent with your client if you want to be able to have a strategic partnership. So when things are challenging, you need to transparently be open with them. You need to share things with them if the results are not the ones you expected. So you built an ML, a machine learning model that doesn't have the performance you were expecting to have. be very transparent, and that's quite difficult. Sometimes you also even have to be vulnerable in the way of being able to tell the client, hey, this sucks, it doesn't work, we fucked up, or hey, I don't know how to do this, but we're gonna figure it out, don't worry. And I think that was very, 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 very difficult. And maybe last, you ask again on the challenges, and I think that there's two, to my mind, aside from what I just mentioned, there's two big challenges that come to mind. First, once we started being able to, get those first clients and start seeing some consistency and some repeatability and the clients starting to follow us, we needed a top talent to be able to accompany those clients. So do the client relationship, oversee the project, and so on. And I will tell you, this is a challenge that we still have today when Visium is a bit more of 100 individuals. It's the same. This finding these top talents or building these top talents in-house to lead those collaborations is very difficult. And then second challenge is obviously finding the right clients. Finding the right clients, it means a client that somehow has a similar culture. What I mean by culture is some similar values, willing to listen and collaborate with you and not just have a vendor, let's say vendor contractor relationship, but really a partnership. And that's difficult. And you need a bit of luck, you need a bit of timing, you need to have the right need and the right value. And that's what I think we've got quite lucky on being able to find some amazing partners. And today, I mean, clients that became amazing partners today and lifted off the floor.
Yeah, and how do you? So, for example, once you close one client, how do you start engagement? Like, do you have like a sort of a methodology, or do you start by exploring what are the different AI use cases that you can apply to the client? How does everything work?
The most important thing is to meet your client where they're at, right? If your client comes to you and they have scoped this AI project, right? Let's say they want to build an AI assistant for sales, that can predict which of your opportunities is going to be sold, right? So a machine learning use case, not too complicated. Maybe we add with some LLMs to make it funkier and funnier. And they have everything scoped. Meet them where they are. So directly start on the project. If they don't know what they want to do, or you can see a bit of cracks on the logic on how they chose their use case and it doesn't make sense, then we would accompany you end to end. And what do I mean by end to end? I mean, from the moment you do the ideation of the project and you say, okay, what pain points are we trying to solve? We call this use case ideation and prioritization. So we're going to try to figure out what are the biggest pain points across the organization, what kind of AI solution can solve that, and how could you actually create that solution. Once you selected it, you do something that is, I think, very underestimated from what I've seen in my experience across the years, which is a very robust project charters where you're going to identify who are the right people in the organization to work with you. And that's crucial because that's a make or break. If you don't have the right people on the project from the inside, it's going to be very difficult to move things around. And then you need the right people also from the Visium side. Who is it in our team that has the right expertise to build that model or to accompany you into implementing this model, so on and so on? Once you have that, you move to a proof of concept. Proof of concept, super fast. You just want to prove that there is some value to doing AI. So you take a team, you take a lot of pizzas or whatever, sushis or whatever, close yourself in a war room, talk as much as you can with the clients, with the users, and just build this POC as fast as possible to see if actually the AI can add value to the workflow you're trying to embed AI into that. If works and it validates, great. If it doesn't, just kill the project. It means that something went wrong and restart everything. Fail fast. They always say it. You have to fail very fast. As long as you fail fast. Once you have your POC, move to your MVP, so minimal viable product, meaning test at scale. Give the opportunity to more users from the client to do it. We work with organizations sometimes that have more than 100,000 employees. If you do a solution, the sales assistant that I was saying, for example, don't just give it to 5 people. Give it to as many sales guys that you can, like 200, 300, get as much feedback as you can, and then finally productionalize it. So it's really important to have your funnel. And I just described you the Vizium funnel on how we actually take clients from point zero to the very end. And it's important that you have this funnel because throughout this funnel, it's kind of like a fil rouge that's going to accompany you. And throughout this funnel, you guys are actually going to be able to democratize your solution to the people. Because every opportunity when you talk to users to democratize your AI is a big opportunity. Because at the end of the day, you can build the best algorithm in the world. If nobody uses it, it doesn't make any sense. So democratize, teach people, work with people. It's very, very important.
Yeah, perfect. I think you answered my follow-up question, which is more on what's the Visium's differentiation, no? In the end, there's I think a lot of AI consulting firms right now, but maybe you can further explain what makes Visium unique and why do clients choose Visium over other consultancies or in-house teams?
I think there's three reasons why Visium comes on top. And maybe I'm biased because I love my firm, but I think the the first one is we are specialized. So we are specialized in the field of life sciences and chemicals, so anything science-backed organizations. So we are extremely good, have an extremely strong track record, have people that speak the business's language within those fields. So I think that's the first one. So if you come to us to do an energy project, we might not be the right partner, right? But if you come to us within this specific field, then we're going to be the right one. The second element that differentiates Vision from the others is the focus that we've been putting the past 4 years. I would tell you, the past 3 years, we've been really trying to transform what does it mean the client experience when working with a consultancy. We really try to make our clients go from 0 to 1 with us in a partner to partner relationship. And if we have to say the hard things, we will say the hard things. And I mean, you work in a consultancy, you know what's the business model of consultancies. Sometimes it's very difficult to find those win-win partnership when you're very open, very vulnerable with your partner, with your client, and be there. But we have focused a lot on creating our own Visium way client experience. And third, the people. We have great talent and we have a great trainings for our people. But what I mean by people is I think we hire from top universities in the field of data science. And so we have those amazing talents that are coming from those top universities. And then they're just making the Visium culture stronger and stronger. And they can solve technical problems. Again, I'm biased, but I believe nobody can solve out there, or at least not any Lambda consultancy could solve out there or Lambda people. They're brilliant.
Perfect. Also, you mentioned before that in December you opened the Barcelona office. Why did you decide to open an office in Barcelona? Why not in Madrid or maybe Valencia? And yeah, why you decided Barcelona in this case?
So we actually have already a Valencia office. So Valencia was our first office in Spain that we opened in 2023, I believe, or 2024. And we chose Valencia because there is a great polytechnical school in Valencia. And so we were very happy with this first choice. And then in to continue our Spanish expansion, obviously we had the choice between Madrid, Malaga, Bilbao, Barcelona. And the reason why we chose Barcelona was because first we have clients that are present in Barcelona, and as part of our client experience, proximity is key. And we want to have our people, our VGMEs, be able to go towards the client and work with the client every day, or just be with the client, it is for a coffee or lunch, or really create these relationships. And second, Barcelona is a very international city with both very local and international talents that are coming to Barcelona, which makes it a market that is very exciting. There are a lot of organizations that have set up their data and AI hubs in Barcelona, which is also very exciting for us. And there is a swarm of talent, and because of consultancy firms and tech firms, that is extremely exciting. And so there's more competition for sure, I would say, but we're very happy to go against the competition in Barcelona and try to have a go at seeing who can grab the best talent and the best clients.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I think Barcelona has a lot of companies that are interested in adopting AI. So yeah, I totally agree on that. Now focus more on the AI use cases. So you mentioned that you specialized in chemicals and life sciences. How do you figure out what are the main use cases worth pursuing
Mm.
first versus which ones, for example, maybe other ones, but that maybe are much more exciting, like maybe implementing agentic AI in some system?
So I told you before that this sentence that I really believe in is you got to meet your client where your client is at, meaning that it depends on the maturity of the organization, right? Or even the team that you're going to work with. You cannot try to do agentic AI if if the organization doesn't have any data foundations. Because without data, there's no AI, and without data, there's not even you're far away from agentic AI, right? So, so I think that's the first element. And then, we have tons of proprietary frameworks and methodologies that we build through time on how do we prioritize the different use cases in an organization and so forth and so on. But the truth is, we have a lot of experience in our field. And we know, I think we have a good feeling now, thanks to our experience, of what works and what doesn't work necessarily. And what I mean by what works is what use case, at what time, and for whom. And what I mean is, when I talk for whom and for what time, I really mean about the maturity parts. There is the data maturity, but there is also the data literacy or AI literacy maturity. So there is the people maturity and there is the data maturity. And that helps us a lot into figuring out what is the right use case with the people or not. Or, if you want to go through this transformation of agentic AI and agentify your business model, we're the first ones that are very happy to help you, but we'll know after a couple of meetings if actually it's going to be a possible or not.
Yeah, sounds good. And also, I saw that you work across more over 250 projects in different sectors. Where have you seen AI create real value? And another question, it's a bit different, is I think change management is a very important topic when it comes to adopting AI. How do you empower the client's employees to adopt AI?
So with regards to the first part of your question on some very cool AI use cases, so I dedicate myself to the field of chemicals mainly and also a couple of other industries, but mainly chemicals. And I think what's very cool into chemical is I think we were one of the first firms in collaboration with a client that is a market leader into this field to be able to create the first Gen AI perfume, Gen AI scents, basically. And so we leveraged artificial intelligence to help perfumers create perfumes. So the way that it actually works is that a client, you can think of a cosmetic company, like I don't know, a L'Oreal, or even, for example, potentially a Dior or whatever that want to create a perfume or a shampoo for it, whatever it takes or whatever. They would come to these companies, fragrance and flavor houses, and they would ask them, "I need to have a certain scent for this perfume, and this scent needs to be, I don't know, need to smell like coconut, and I'm looking for something quite earthy," and they will give you some basically descriptors, right? Olfactive descriptors. And what we did together with them and together with the perfumers is we worked to build an algorithm that would actually accelerate all that time to be able to generate this chemical formula. And so with GenAI, we can create a formula from a brief. So you have this PDF page if you want, just to make it very simple, where you have the L'Oreal of this world that tells you, hey, I want this. Then the algorithm can take this page, all this will read this page and will say, okay, based on a database of different formulas, you want something earthy, woody, blah, blah, blah. My algorithm matches that there are these top 3 formulas that you should leverage, or we can even think of the algorithm that would create a complete new formula based on that. And then it will give it to the perfumer. The perfumer will directly look at it and use the human touch and the human experience to figure out, if this is the right one for their client, because nobody knows their clients better than they do, to be able to propose that then to the client. And that, I think, this kind of application of AI is fantastic, because today, when I shower, we use a lot of products. All the products we use have scent, right? And today, most of scents can be made by all the scents can be made by AI. I would tell you, and most of them I think already made by AI or are starting to be made by AI very quickly. And it's the same for food. Every flavor that we eat can be made by AI as well. Same application, and I find that extremely exciting, really exciting. And go for it. You want to say
No, no,
something?
wow! Like I was impressed. I've never heard about that type of use case, but I think that's something that AI it's like makes us very surprising. No.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I've seen dozens of these different use cases that I think are, for me, completely transformational. And I love it because, you and I, we go to the shop, we buy some biscuits. We have no idea. We know that there is some flavor in it and, some sweet whatever, but would have no idea that actually AI was part of that process. And what I find beautiful is that it's really to see the human and the AI work together hand in hand to make it happen. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. So now about Visium. So I see that you recently got some investments, no? And I think you are growing very fast right now. My question is, where do you see Visium in the next few years? What's your vision for that?
Well, I think, we are very ambitious, and I would refer to a bit what is our purpose. Our purpose is to be able to to do AI to have a positive AI impact at scale. And so we want to bring the best practices throughout the world of how AI should be done, especially in the B2B world, because that's where we are the most active, right? And, and how can we actually do AI at scale in a safe, impactful manner. So, with this being said, and with the investment that we have just had, we're going to continue to expand our footprint first across Europe, but then hopefully as well overseas. And that's what is the plan, I would say, for the next 3 years. It's continuing to work very closely into regulated industries, particularly life sciences and chemicals, and just take our talents a little bit broader than Switzerland and Europe. That would be the biggest next steps. And for that, we will obviously innovate on our business model as well and find ways to deliver more value to our client in a better, faster, and cheaper way that we have been able to do right now.
Great, great. Now let's move on to the last question, which is our signature question. Where do you think AI will surprise people the most in ways they're not even thinking about yet?
So my personal take is, and I'll keep it really on a B2C side, or direct to consumer side on you and I, on how we use AI every day, or even our parents how they use AI every day. I think if we look down in the future, we project ourselves. I think that AI will completely transform customer experience in a way that we've never seen before. And what I mean by that is that the feedback loop that AI creates thanks to agentic AI, right? This autonomous AI that can take actions for us and so on, would be faster than ever. And we will be able to get much more faster and cheaper in a new way. What I mean is that our way of interacting with the world will be very different. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 years or 5 years, you and I will meet again and we talk, and we will talk about all the different AI agents that we have for ourselves. And so if I want to go to the gym, I will have my personal coach might be an AI agent. And that's the customer experience is I might have an AI agent that will be a personal coach. I might have an AI that will be a personal shopper. And I will not even know it, but the AI will be proactive and push notifications to me and say, "Hey, I saw this shirt that I think would fit your style," and then I will just be at a click to buy, and we will have this AI that will kind of be much more proactive and works with us on whatever we want. And I think what would be amazing is that it will allow to. I hope actually that it will go to that direction, not the other one, but I hope that it would also allow for mass differentiation across the world and really empower more small businesses and so on when it can come to, for example, fashion, retail, or whatever, because there will be no more boundaries, right? The internet will be boundaries. And depending on how we do the AI, maybe, I'll be able to buy some locally sourced shirts and not go to the big brands all the time because my agent will know that this is my choice and I love this and it will go there. And maybe your AI will be very different and you love I don't know, Puma or whatever, and then it will suggest you this thing. So I think that agentic AI will completely change the customer experience, and it will be fantastic, really, really fantastic.
Yeah, dude, that's really a great answer and great insight about how agentic AI can change our ways of this customer experience. So, Vuk, thank you so much for your time for the podcast and also for your insights. And yeah, let's see how Visium is gonna grow in the next few years. So I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, Jericho. Thank you very
Perfect.
much.
Thank you so much.